Welcome back. Over the last few sessions, we've begun to look at how John was the forerunner and what his message was about, and we've been looking at how he was preparing people for the arrival of Jesus. And we looked at the images that he was drawing on, like the Romans building the roads, the straight roads, and preparing for the kingdom to come. And as John began this message, and he began to encourage people to get ready for the coming of the King, what Luke tells us is that crowds came for baptism, and these crowds came to sort of start again. And when you look at what Mark tells us and what Matthew tells us, we know that people were coming from all over Judea, and Mark tells us even from Jerusalem. And Matthew tells us that they were getting baptized in the Jordan. They were coming from across the Jordan Valley, and that when people confessed their sins, they were being baptized in the Jordan River. What we have here is a symbolic picture and a decision. And what's happening is that the Jordan River marked the boundaries of the Promised Land. So when the Israelites, way back in the beginning of their identity as a nation, when they'd left Egypt and they'd wandered round the wilderness, and they arrive at the borders of the Promised Land, what they have is they have the Jordan River to cross to enter into the Promised Land. In other words, the Jordan River and crossing the Jordan symbolised moving into their destiny. When the Israelites first left Egypt, they had been a nation of slaves for centuries. Joseph had rescued the people, and we know the story of Joseph with his amazing coat of many colours, and the story that led to Joseph saving the nation. But the nation had gone on for several centuries, and the pharaohs had forgotten what had happened. They became a nation of slaves, until Moses is raised up as a leader, and he leads his people out of Egypt. And in Exodus 14 we read of the account where, escaping from Egypt, they arrive at the Red Sea, and they've got this body of water on one side of them, and the closing in is Egyptians coming with all of their chariots ready to wipe them out, and they're stuck between this army and the Red Sea. And God does a miracle, and he parts the waters, and the Israelite nation crosses through the Red Sea on dry land. And then when the Egyptians try to follow, the waters close over. And what you have is this picture of this symbolic crossing through the river, crossing through the water, symbolises them moving from being a nation of slaves to a nation of free people. However, the Israelites rebelled, and as a result they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Until they arrive again at the Jordan River. And at this time, Joshua has taken over from Moses. Moses has died. Joshua is the new leader of the nation of Israel. And they stand on the threshold of a new chunk of their history. They stand on the threshold of moving into their destiny. And what stands before them is the Jordan River. And the Jordan is in flood. It's at harvest time, and the waters, which are normally about 100 feet wide and between 3 and 10 metres deep, are suddenly in flood. And a river that's in flood is a scary thing. So my question to you today is, have you crossed your Jordan River? Are you ready to pick up that new identity in God and move into fulfilling the potential that God has for you? If you haven't, the invitation is there. Are you ready to cross your Jordan? Are you ready to move into your new identity? Will you come with that sense of repentance and dedication and move into the potential that God has for you?